Okay, so let's go to Italy. Now, I'm just going to go into the article because. So, Italy's pro life groups trying to force women seeking abortions to listen to fetal heartbeat. Now, whether it's actually a heartbeat or like when it's 6 weeks when people think they're hearing a heartbeat, regardless, it's torture. So, a group of anti-abortion organizations in Italy has collected 106,000 signatures, double the minimum required in a referendum, to change the country's law on abortion. And I'm surprised that they have an abortion law. And by that I mean the pro-choice. Because Italy is a very, very conservative, very religious country. So, but anyway, let's get to the article. An Italian anti-abortion group with ties to the United States, of course they do, has collected more than 100,000 signatures in an attempt to force women seeking abortions to listen to the so-called fetal heartbeat before going ahead with the procedure. Yeah, it's one of those stupid shits that people think at 6 weeks you can hear the fetus's heartbeat. They don't have a heart yet, dumbass. Now, granted, that's where their heart will eventually form, but we're not at that stage yet. The group called Pro Vita e Familia, or Pro Life and Family, and God, I hope I came close to pronouncing that correctly, is hoping to change Italy's law on abortion to introduce 2 extra steps before patients can receive the treatment. Wait, 2? Alright, is there a step at all? What's happening? Under the group's demands, doctors offering an abortion should first have their patients see the fetus and then have them hear its heartbeat. Because that's going to do what? Make them realize, oh, this is a human life, I can't kill it. No. All you're doing is torturing people. Because how many of these women, want to have the kid but can't? Or if it's this early on, if they really don't want to have something growing inside them, all you're doing is making them feel bad for doing it. But you're not going to stop them because they know their lives. They know what they can handle. All you're doing is making them feel bad. It's just horrible. I didn't realize that religious tenets included be as horrible to women as humanly possible. The proposal to change the law, supported by 50 different groups, was signed by about 106,000 people and was delivered to the Italian Parliament last week. For a referendum to be considered by lawmakers in Italy, there's a minimum requirement of 50,000 signatures. I really wonder how many of the people who signed this petition have any clue what they are asking and how they are torturing people. Or maybe they don't care. Maybe they don't care if the women are tortured. Maybe they hate women. Or maybe they, like I said, didn't bother to think this through. And thought, oh, that's reasonable. Under a law introduced in 1978, Italy allows women to undergo an abortion within the first 90 days of pregnancy. Wait, what? I'm sorry, what? After 90 days, the procedure is only granted when the pregnancy represents a risk to the life of the patient or if there are congenital malformations in the fetus. Seriously. After 90 days. That's a month and a half. That's 6 weeks. We went through this in the U.S. Most women do not know they are pregnant yet. That is just horrible. But at least they're more considerate than Texas, which isn't saying a whole hell of a lot. That's a low bar. But scientifically, in the initial phase of a pregnancy, when Italy allows for an abortion, the fetus has no heartbeat. The sound that is often mistaken for a heartbeat is produced by the ultrasound monitor machine used to observe the state of a pregnancy. The American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, ACOG, has repeatedly stated that the term fetal heartbeat is medically and scientifically inaccurate. So I was even wrong. But Jesus Christ, how is... Oh, this is just horrible. This makes it even worse. Despite the fact that the right to access abortion is relatively recent in Italy and fiercely protected by women's rights groups, the issue has become increasingly contentious in recent years, especially as banning or limiting abortions has grown to be the target of an international, well-funded network which has its biggest presence in the U.S. Well, again, no surprise. No surprise. A lot of this stuff is being exported to other countries by the U.S. So, yeah, no surprise there at all. For years, conservative Christian groups in the U.S. have lobbied to restrict access to abortion, with activists famously gathering outside Planned Parenthood centers to try to intercept women seeking the procedure. Because there's absolutely nothing wrong with harassing women who don't want to but have to have an abortion by telling them they shouldn't have an abortion and make things even worse for them. Yeah, that's not harassment. That's not, these protesters should be sent to court for mental anguish, because Jesus Christ. In June last year, the U.S. Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, the landmark legislation granting access to abortion on a federal level, which in turn allowed individual states to pass near-total bans on abortions and stricter legislation. Several states, including Georgia, Iowa, South Carolina, and Texas, have passed laws which forbid abortions after detection of the so-called fetal heartbeat at about 6 weeks into the pregnancy. And I've been following the saga of Kate Cox, a Texas woman who eventually left the state to have an abortion. Oh, and by the way, the Texas Supreme Court struck the appeal down, and withheld what the Attorney General's appeal to say that she doesn't actually need the abortion, because obviously a bunch of judges who probably never touched a woman before seem to think that they know better than women and doctors what medical care a woman needs. Jesus Christ. But anyway, I'm getting off track. The reach of these American anti-abortion groups have now extended beyond the U.S., with the organization Heartbeat International counting 60 branches all over the world, including in Italy. Heartbeat International is the biggest anti-abortion organization in the U.S., and it's considered to have played a significant role in pushing for limits to the existing abortion law in several U.S. states. Well, I was not aware that that organization existed. Good to know. Of course, you would think that something that's in regards to abortion, called Heartbeat International, I guess, yeah, I could see how it would be an anti-abortion group. But it could go either way, because that's what they do. They try to make themselves sound like they're legit, when they're not. Movimento per la Vita, Movement for Life, the biggest anti-abortion organization in Italy, is affiliated with Heartbeat International and has received a total of $99,810, or 92,800 euros from it in funding for training, projects, and support since 2014. They really should not be having that much money. Jesus Christ. So many people giving money to organizations to prevent women from living their lives and doing what they need to do is just mind-bogglingly depressing. Movimento's regional branches in Piedmont and in the cities of Venice, Mestre, and La Spezia supported the petition. There's another example that anti-abortion groups in Italy are looking at, Hungary, where in September 2022, the government of Prime Minister Viktor Orban introduced a new law forcing those seeking abortion to listen to the fetal heartbeat. It was the first change to abortion laws in the country since 1992. Oh my God, I so hate these people with a fiery passion. What is wrong with you? Fine, you don't want to have an abortion no matter what. Go for it. It's your body. I do not care. Don't tell other people when and where they're able or how they're able to have an abortion. It's not your body. You don't know their situation. You do not get a say. So this is the way Euronews phrases it on, I think it's Twitter? Or is it Instagram? Twitter. Dark money funding retrograde anti-abortion activity in UK. So, yay. Italy's Prime Minister, Giorgia Meloni, has long proclaimed herself to be strongly in favor of growing the country's sluggish birth rates and the traditional family, to the point that many were worried about the future of abortion after her election. And there you have it. It's not that they care about the baby and, oh, human life begins at conception and whatever nonsense they're saying. They just see that their birth rates are going down because, women aren't being treated as walking incubators anymore. So, well, we can't have that, and we certainly don't want the brown people coming in and defiling our beautiful country, because obviously brown people are savages and us Europeans are perfect humans because we're white or something. So, yeah. Meloni, leader of the far-right party Brothers of Italy, which is part of the current coalition in power, has also long been an ally of Orban, shocking, with whom she shares the anti-LGBTQ+, pro-traditional family stance at the heart of her political manifesto. The only thing that's different between her and Orban is she's pro-Ukraine. She's pro-Europe, which, considering her stances that are anathema to Europe, is very bizarre. She's pro-Europe, pro-Ukraine, but she's anti-everything that makes Europe Europe. Nice. That makes so much sense. And yet the Italian leader might not get behind Pro Vita's proposed changes to the law. Meloni, who many feared would bring back fascism to Italy, has nurtured a more moderate image since winning the election and has promised not to touch Italy's existing abortion laws. She probably realized that her political life depended on not being a fascist dickweed. While Meloni has her reasons not to pass a heartbeat bill in Italy, it's also unlikely that the law proposal will make it through the country's two chambers, something that has happened only 3 times since 1979, despite a total of 260 law proposals being passed over to the parliament. So that's where we're at right now with abortion in Italy. So it's good to see that despite anti-abortionist best efforts, or as I call them, forced birthers, best efforts, hopefully their draconian laws will not come into effect. That even if it makes it onto the referendum, that that the majority of Italians are going to see through the bullshit and not pass it. But anyway, that's all I have for that article, and I will see you guys in the next one.